HPZ says, Dutch, I watched a match you had with Butch Reed for Bill Watts in Mid-South in 1985. This match took place in the summer of that year. I thought you were very good as a heel in this match. This match made me want to watch more of your work. What do you think your best years in the business were? Thank you for your time. So we'll come back to that in a second, your best years. But working with Butch Reed, we've talked about Butch Reed when he had the fight with John Nord, but what was Butch Reed like to work with, especially when he was at the peak of his powers in Mid-South?
Great. Butch Reed was great. Butch Reed is a laid-back guy anyway. So you're sitting there talking to him, and this is Butch. What do you want to do? I said, I don't know. What do you want to do? Because he would sell and sell and sell. And then when the time to come make his comeback, he knew how to get those people, and he'd start them dancing, and boom. Then all you got to do is sell his stuff. But very, very easy to talk to, very, very easy to work with. Never hurt you on anything. And hey, he had some pretty big size arms too. So, and Watts, I had to think about his name for a second. Cowboy Bill Watts. He loved Butch Reed. He loved him. So, because he liked, I don't know where Butch Reed was from, but he's from the center part of the country. I don't know where he was from, but Watts loved that guy. And of course, when I was there running around with a bullwhip, I wrestled every black guy in the company. So I didn't know who I was working. I just knew it was against four. It'd be Big Brick Ass Brown or
Snowman.
Who?
Snowman.
Snowman and then Butch Reed, and they had a nigga that George somebody. Can't remember his name, but I always knew that I'd be working with him. But Butch Reed, and I don't know what match he watched. Was it the outside match with Butch?
I don't know. If he's saying 85, I suspect it's something that's on the network because they've got a bit of Mid-South 85 on the network. I don't know which match exactly, though.
Well, I wrestled him in some place outside at a baseball stadium or a racetrack because we just, the background. They had a good house there, a great house. But it was so friggin' hot that day. It was like 104. I don't know how the people stood it. Because when I got in the ring, the mat was so hot, you couldn't lay on it. Probably the match was better because we stayed on our feet most of the times. You're not going to lay down on that hot mat. And they try to keep it covered before the match started, but still, that mat gets hot with that sun bearing down on it. Humidity at 90%. I've heard about guys going in matches on a hot night and losing 5 pounds. I don't know. That's a lot of weight to lose, to tell you the truth. But I bet I lost 3 pounds just sweating. And it was outside. I remember it. I remember the finish. I remember everything. And I remember how the people bought it. And it was a good match. But I had good matches with Butch. And, sometimes when you have to wrestle certain guys and your styles don't quite match up, or the guy could have something wrong with him or hit you the wrong way, or there's some guys you just dread going into the ring with. And I hope I never hear it about myself, but I probably do. We'll hear if people keep talking enough. But Butch, I always look forward to wrestling him. I always look, because he was a great guy to get along with. Now, he passed away too, last year?
3 years ago, in fact. Yeah,
damn.
2021.
Brother, they're dropping like flies.
Mm.
All these guys I knew, and I got all these stories about, and now all of a sudden, they're gone. So I don't know. And Butch, I felt sorry for him. He was a great, I think I remember seeing him about 4 years ago. And I asked him a question, and I can't remember what I asked him now, but it was something, and he gave me an answer. I remember that, but I don't even know what it was. It must not have been that important. But Butch Reed, thank you very much for the fan who wrote in. What was his name?
Oh, it's on the previous page. Bear with me. H. Peasy or something like that.
Hey, Peasy. Thanks for your write in. And yeah, it was a good match. I liked that you liked it. Yeah. And I've done some more stuff. You know what? I found some stuff of me on, and it's old, old, old. Probably the oldest recorded material of me is when I wrestled in Trinidad for like the first time. And remember, I was talking about Trinidad, a little earlier today, not on air, but it was like going to Trinidad, and then they had never seen a live wrestling match. They'd seen it on TV, and you talk about a live crowd. People talk about electric crowds. That was one of them. So, but it wasn't, that's not a pearl of mine, the Trinidad stuff, but it shows you how, and that was in I'm trying to think of when it was, 1979 is when it was. Now, in Trinidad, it's right off the coast of South America. It is hotter than hell there. Hotter. That's what Tom Pritchard used to say. Hotter than hell. He would say that. But it would get like humidity like 98%. I mean, you could just walk outside and start sweating, period. So, but it was right on top of the equator. I wonder, why is it so hot here? Somebody said, let's go out and lay by the pool. Screw that. You might go get in the water and get out of the pool into the shade. You wouldn't get in the water and then get in the sun because you couldn't stand it that long. But anyway, I just brought that up for no apparent reason, but we're just rambling here anyway. Butch Reed, great talent, and condolences to his family, and I miss Butch still today.
He was born in Kansas City, Missouri. He studied at Warrensburg. He studied at Central Missouri, and he died in Warrensburg, Missouri. So Missouri born and bred. Yep,
good guy.
Just before we get off Butch, I want to ask you this. So I know you didn't get to Mid-South when Junkyard Dog was still there, because he ruled Mid-South for quite a few years, and
sure did.
Now with Butch Reed, he was the replacement for Junkyard Dog. Bill Watts always strong black baby face to draw the black fans and the white fans as well, because everyone loved JYD and then Butch as well. How good of a replacement was Butch for Junkyard Dog? Because no one can replace Junkyard Dog, but how did Butch do?
That's what I was going to say. Nobody can replace Junkyard. Junkyard was his own entity. He was his own creation. And Junkyard had a way, he had a great name. I met him as Sylvester Ritter. I first met him in Tennessee, and that's before he went to, I think he went to Memphis from there, and then he went to Mid-South, and Watts had been looking for, and the reason he had been looking for a person of color babyface. And, you got to watch how you say that. I said, oh, well, why would he be looking for that? Because there are some counties in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas that are predominantly people of color. I was in one county, and they say the person of color population is 80%. So if you didn't have a black guy, a person of color guy that they can feel something for, well, then they might come, but they'll really come if he was there and he means something. And Junkyard Dog meant something in Mid-South. He meant a lot. So when he left to go to WWF, there's no replacing him. It's going to be in. And I could have told Watts then, I said, you're just not going to throw, because I didn't tell him this, but he knew this. You're not going to throw another person of color out there and expect them to take off along the same terms as Junkyard Dog did. And of course, when I was in Mid-South, he ran through a couple of people of color, I'll say. He ran through a couple of those talents, but they couldn't replace him. He had Butch Reed first, I think. Then he had Snowman. And then I think he finished up with, and I was only there a year. I think he finished up with Brickhouse Brown.
Was he called it was someone called like Jack or something like that? I can't remember who's.
Do what now?
In the UWF days or something.
That was something Jack, yes. But he didn't do it either. And George Wells. George Wells is another one that didn't quite get it.
He was on the crack. That guy. That's what paid short shrift to his career. I think he was a crack addict for a while. He's cleaned up his act now, and I think he's doing very well.
Well, Watts kept looking, but he never found a replacement for Junkyard Dog. It's like if, say, when he lost, this is what Mid-South lost. They lost Ted DiBiase. They lost Duggan. They lost Jake the Snake.
Mm-hmm. Matt Bourne. Oh, no, they didn't lose Matt Bourne, did they?
Well, I don't think Matt Bourne meant that much, and then they lost Junkyard Dog. I mean, what are you going to replace those guys with? Because you just can't bring in it takes time for these people to get over, and you don't know if they're going to get over to the same extent, and they won't. But those guys were all big major stars in WWF, and that's how Vince made his company. He just stole the stars from all the other territories and took them out. Like he went to Florida, got Dusty, took him. Then he went and got Junkyard Dog in Mid-South. Then he got Lawler out of Memphis. And then he got Kerry Von Erich. Was it Kerry Von Erich?
He did at one point, yeah. Yeah, but Dallas was dead anyway by that point.
Yeah, but he took the name. He took the name synonymous with wrestling in Texas of Von Erich and took it to WWF.
And then